Hello everyone, I'm Shir0 and welcome to my winter season 2016 anime first impressions video. So over the last week I've watched the first episodes of 10 different series and I'm basically going to be explaining what I think about them, whether I'm going to keep watching them, whether I think you should watch them, and whether I think they'll be good or not, and if I'll be doing videos on them in the future. So basically, of these 10, I've chosen two of those series that I'm going to do reviews on a regular basis. And there's a couple that I'll maybe do reviews on after they finished airing, but most of them I might not do videos on, at least the vast majority of them anyway. I've got a list of them there on the screen, so I might have to look at that because the names are quite long, and I've got basic descriptions of them there because, again, I'm terrible at remembering things. So this is going to be fun. I don't know anything about these series. The only one I heard of before watching them was the one I'm going to be talking about first. And that is the Gashigashi. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I have no idea. Basically the premise of this show is that this kid who draws manga, he's kind of missing something. He's not quite getting there. He's kind of a bit frustrated with it, but that's what he wants to do. But his father runs a sweet shop and wants him to take over and inherit it. Obviously he doesn't want to, he wants to draw manga. But then eventually this girl turns up one day and she works for this big candy corporation, and she wants the father to come and work for them. To which he agrees as long as she can get his son to take over the business. And so obviously hilarity ensues. It's very much a comedy, shonen, slice of life kind of thing. There seems to be a little bit of fan service, but I wouldn't go so far as to say it's ecchi or anything. It very much knows that the female character is that kind of character. She'll definitely appeal to a lot of people with a lot of different fetishes, and they know that and they're playing to that, but it's definitely not ecchi in any way. It's just kind of flaunting what they've got, which is expected nowadays. That's 90% of all anime, and from what I can tell of the first episode and the second one, which I've watched as well, it's pretty good. I'm pretty interested in it, honestly. It's very much my kind of thing. There's very much the kind of, the satire is my kind of satire. The slice of life is very much my kind of thing. I like kind of fun, easygoing anime. I'm a big fan of those kind of slice of life shows. So, at the time being at least, it's very, very kind of right up my alley. The art style I quite like. It reminds me a bit of Sankaria. I don't know why in particular, but it's a little bit different from normal kind of slice of life art styles. It's very much not generic. It's got its own kind of twist and its own flavour to it, and I like that. I appreciate that quite a lot. So that, and I find the main character fairly relatable because when I was younger, I assume about his age. I don't quite know how old he is or meant to be, but I wanted to draw manga a lot when I was younger, so I can kind of relate to that. And all in all, I think it's a fairly good series. It's definitely one of them that I'm going to be watching as it comes out, and I'll probably be doing videos on it. In fact, I'll be doing one later this week, which would basically just be kind of a review of the first 2 episodes, and then every week after that I'll be doing a review of that new episode. So next week I'll do an episode 3 review, etc, etc. But that's the Gashigashi. I think it's pretty good. I think you should watch it. I'm definitely going to. I'm definitely going to see where that goes. I'm definitely going to enjoy it, hopefully. Hopefully it doesn't turn out to be just pure fan service and crap. But yeah, that's that. Okay, so the next one I'm going to talk about is Luck and Logic. It's this kind of action, sci-fi, fantasy kind of thing. It follows a very kind of generic plot point of there was this ancient war, and now like demons and gods are fighting the humans, and the main character is this kind of stereotypical male kind of main character who had this kind of secretive, mysterious past where he was super powerful, and he now isn't, or you know, like he's repenting for his actions. Maybe he did something wrong. but you know, when the need arises, he's forced to like take up the fight again, and he immediately shows up to these three girls who are kind of struggling to fight this monster. He fights them, and you know, pretty much easily just takes over the fight and wins, and then joins this organization. So basically, the backstory is that there's been this war between the demons and the gods, and obviously the gods won. The demons then had to, you know, as a kind of retreating maneuver, they thought, okay, let's take our anger out on the humans, and so they attacked the human world, and then the humans had to fight back. And so as they did, all these people called logicalists were kind of enforced to fight back. They were basically conscripted by the government in order to fight, and they all have these kind of covenants, I think they're called, with gods. So with various gods. The main character has a covenant with the god Athena, and he has like this big shield that he calls his Aegis, and you don't really see much of his, you know, fighting power, but it seems like beforehand, like it shows like a flashback to obviously his past, where he must have been fighting in that war with the monsters or something. He seems to have the power of like Azura, like he grows like 6 more arms or whatever, and you know, he looks incredibly powerful, but also slightly evil and demonic. So it's probably going to be one of those kind of things where it will play into that history, and people won't know if they can trust him, etc., etc. It seems like the kind of plot that you'd see a lot in kind of an ecchi harem kind of series. There doesn't seem to be any ecchi or harem in it. Whether it goes that way, I don't know. Like I said, the only series of any of these that I've watched now, that I heard before I watched it, was the Gashigashi, and I don't really know much about that either. So, you know, I really don't know anything about these series. It seems interesting, the whole kind of plot point of all of these different gods from all of these different religions. It seems kind of interesting. These different powers that you get, like different combinations, would be interesting to see if like one or more people, if they covenant with the same god, do they have the same form, like the same kind of fusion form that they get, or do they each have their own individual one? That would be kind of cool to see if that's the thing at all. I don't know. You know, there's plenty of cool ways they can go about doing it, and I just hope they don't go into a kind of ecchi harem route, because that would kind of devalue it a bit. I don't have a problem with ecchi or harem. I've watched plenty of them, but I feel it would kind of devalue it, especially if it started off without that. But ultimately, it seems kind of fun. It seems interesting. The art's pretty good. There's a lot of CG, which I'm still not sure about, but you know, it's definitely better than a lot of CG that I have seen. It's probably not something I'm going to watch weekly. I'll probably watch it after it's come out, and you know, maybe I'll do a review on it then. I don't know. It's not really my kind of thing. Like I said, I prefer the much more kind of light-hearted. I don't mind action. I don't mind fighting, but I'm very much more into like the comedy and fun side of anime. Right. So the next one I'm going to talk about is Shoujo Tachi wo Koya was Mezu. Right. Shoujo Tachi wa Koya wo Mezazu. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't really know. It's basically a story that revolves around this kind of main character who's very earnest, he's very hardworking, he's liked by a lot of people, he's kind of very well known in his little kind of community, but he doesn't know what he wants to do as a career, like later in life. And his school is handing out these career surveys where you're meant to kind of put down what you want to do, and he doesn't know. But at the same time, he notices that he's being followed by this kind of strange girl who's very quiet, sits in the corner of the class, and eventually she kind of corners him in the boys' bathroom, of all places, and awkwardly, worryingly asks him out on a date, to which he's not really sure whether it's an actual date or whether she's just being weird. But he goes along with it, and they go to this kind of amusement park, and she, the whole time, basically evaluates how good he is at entertaining a guest, at dating, and all of that kind of stuff. And it turns out at the end that she seemingly wants to make a game, like a kind of dating sim for girls kind of thing, or revolving around them. I'm not too sure, it wasn't too clear. But she wants to make a game, and she wants to get him involved, because she knows that he doesn't know what to do, but she thinks because of his charisma and his charm that he'll be very good at it. So he seemingly agrees. That's pretty much all we get from the episode. It doesn't really explain much, but from what I can tell, it's got a lot of very interesting characters. It seems very fun. It seems like it's going to be very light-hearted. It seems like the kind of thing that we're used to seeing quite a lot of nowadays. In the last couple of years, it's become very, very popular, this kind of story. The kind of otaku subculture and stuff. But it seems fairly interesting. I'm probably going to watch it, maybe not weekly, but I don't know. I might not. It seems kind of interesting. It seems like the kind of thing that I would enjoy. Whether or not it's actually going to be good, I don't know. We didn't really find much out in the first episode, enough for me to make up my mind about that. It was just very kind of, here's a main character, here's a main character, they're talking to each other. That was the main episode. I don't even know their names, but that was the episode. But it seems good. It seems interesting, so I'll probably watch that at some point. Whether I'll do a video on it, I don't know. My computer screen just went off. I need that because I need to know what the names are. Hang on. Right, now that that's back up, I can talk about the fourth series that I've seen, Do Chica, which is this kind of school slice of life romance, with a little bit of mystery thrown in, and the art style, I'll say right off the bat, is amazing. Like the eyes, there's so much detail and colour. It's so fantastic. It looks absolutely beautiful. But it's a very different show from what I was expecting. I was expecting a kind of similarity between that and Hyoka, both being like mystery school slice of lives with hints of romance in there. Obviously I was expecting a bit more romance. But what it turns out is that these two characters who used to be childhood friends end up going to the same high school, and they join the brass band club, and they meet up obviously after a long time, and the main female character is kind of told from her perspective. I guess via that means it's more kind of shoujo. She always used to be a fairly tomboy, kind of aggressive kind of girl, and her childhood friend, who is a guy, is very much kind of more passive, more wimpy in a way. He knows that she used to be like that, and obviously since starting high school and wanting to join the brass band club, she's tried to become more ladylike. I think she says she wants to be maidenly cute, and it seems interesting. They both seem to work well together, both the actors and the actual characters themselves, and they end up solving this mystery about this kind of musical score written on this board in the class that basically conveys a message, and they solve what the message is, and the main female character starts to develop a kind of a crush on the teacher, and she comes in the next day in order to practice and get better, and she finds out that her friend is there as well, and then she finds out that he also has a crush on the teacher. And so it goes a completely different direction from what I was expecting, and instead of it being about, those two falling in love, it's about those two being rivals in love with the male teacher. And I'm not sure what to think about that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's weird. They're both in love with the teacher. What? Why? I guess that's shoujo though. It's very much a bit more eccentric than shonen often is. I don't know whether it's something I'll watch weekly. Again, it might be something I'll watch at the end of the season if I hear that it's good, if I hear particularly good things about it. If I hear bad things, I probably won't. But who knows? It seems interesting. The art style is fantastic. I do like mystery series, so that's going to grab my attention. Like I said, I did think it was going to be like Hyoka, and I absolutely love Hyoka. So that's kind of what my expectations were. It betrayed them a little bit because I wasn't expecting that, but it's not bad by any means. Yeah, I'm not really into shoujo, so I still don't know whether I'll watch that, but So the next anime I'm going to be talking about is Museigen no Phantom World, which is Kyoto Animation's new series. They seem to be taking a new twist recently. Their fan service of choice has changed from being primarily moe to being primarily ecchi, and it's odd. I mean, the most notable change would be with Amagi Brilliant Path. Obviously that was fairly ecchi. And this is, I guess, toned down a bit from that, but it's following the same line. The art style obviously is very similar, and the character designs aren't too different either, to be fair. The premise of it is that, I don't know obviously the time or date when this is set, but it seems to be kind of somewhat in the future, I guess. And a virus has basically broke out and infected the human mind so that they can now see phantoms. And at the minute I think it's unclear whether the phantoms have always been there or whether they're these kind of hallucinations, but they seem to be able to have an effect on the real world. So they seem to be able to attack things and possess things, and so they seem to be real. They're not just like hallucinogenic problems, I guess. And suddenly humans can see these, and it's expected that like cats could have seen these before, and some creatures could have, and maybe young children, but now all humans pretty much can see them. And it's the job of these people who are in school, there's this club for them, and they have to go and basically solve problems that these phantoms are causing. And they all have their own individual abilities. The main male character, for example, he can summon or trap phantoms by drawing them. And then he says this incantation, and whichever desired effect he wants happens. The main female character, she can draw on the 5 elements of fire, wind, water, earth / metal, and lightning, I think. And she can basically channel these through caressing certain parts of her body. You can see where the ecchi kind of comes in there. She's very well endowed. There's another one who can basically swallow, basically just inhales and just swallows and traps demons. And then the one that just yells a lot. But you don't really see her until the 2nd episode. I have seen the 2nd episode. It seems good. It seems interesting. The art style obviously is absolutely fantastic. It's Kyoto Animation. What do you expect? It's very, very colourful. The characters are all very fun. Like I said, it looks amazing. It's Kyoto Animation. It's all you can really say about it. It just looks incredible. It's what you get. But yeah, the premise is interesting. The whole kind of phantoms idea, the whole special powers that they all individually have. That intrigues me. I'm probably going to watch this as it comes out. I've already seen the 2nd episode, as I said. The 3rd one I think comes out later this week. I might not do weekly videos. I don't think I'm going to be doing it for this one. I'll probably do a review when the whole series is out, but it's kind of the thing I want to see where it goes, because Kyoto Animation, for example, with Amagi Brilliant Part, I enjoyed it, but it didn't capture my attention enough. Kyoto Animation, the only series I've been able to watch of that eagerly the whole way through was Hyoka. K-On! I couldn't really get into too well. Haruhi Suzumiya I got into, but I couldn't really watch it that eagerly because I had no idea what the hell was going on. But it seems good, it seems interesting. I'll have to see where it goes, obviously, and I will watch it weekly as it comes out. It's just, I don't really want to review it in case it bombs and I get really bored of it. But yeah, it seemed good. It's Kyoto Animation, it's not going to be terrible. They wouldn't make something terrible, fingers crossed. But yeah, the next one I'm going to be talking about is Kono Subarashi Sekai ni Shukufuku wo. Yeah, that's why I had to have this list here. It's basically set in this kind of fantasy RPG style world, and this kind of shut-in otaku guy, he dies trying to save this girl from getting hit by a truck, and instead, I mean, she was never going to get hit, but like, he goes out for the first time in ages and he sees this and he's like, oh god, she's going to get hit. She's not. The guy just breaks and he doesn't get hit. He runs out and pushes her out of the way, what he thinks is his noble sacrifice, and then the thought, the shock of the fact that he might get hit by a bus is enough to give him a heart attack and kill him. And he dies very embarrassingly. He pisses himself and he's lying there, you know, spazzed out in the road. And he basically goes to this kind of afterlife world, and there's this goddess here, and she basically laughs at him and ridicules him for dying in such an embarrassing way. But says that she's given him the opportunity to go to this other world, and live a life there, carrying all of his knowledge that he already has, and he's able to take one kind of thing with him, whatever he wants, of any kind of thing. So it can be the power to wield magic and be incredibly powerful, or the power to know everything. And he goes through this list of things that he wants to take, but then he realizes that this goddess is so high and mighty and on a high horse that he's just like, I'm going to get some revenge. This girl took the piss out of me. And so he decides to take her with him, very much against her will, but that's where the kind of comedy comes in. And they arrive, and she's obviously trying to flaunt off her god abilities, and she sees this monk, and she's like, hey, I'm your god, give me money, basically, so that we can pay to become part of this adventurers guild, so that we can actually make a living. And he's like, okay, but he does it out of pity instead, because he thinks she's kind of a crazy person. So this world is obviously not kind of what either of them were expecting. It involves a lot of hard work. You see them doing a lot of kind of manual labor. They're building a house, and basically all just so they can afford to put a roof over their heads and eat food before any adventuring and stuff happens. They sign up and they get their kind of very kind of Dungeons and Dragons style player cards, and it works out their skills, their stats, their job as such, what they could be fit for. And the main character, he pretty much has above average intelligence, terrible everything, but then incredibly high luck, which he's not very happy about. I mean, he's intelligent, so that's good, and obviously his luck is the highest luck they've ever seen. It's very kind of main character kind of traits. But the goddess tries it, and she's literally the opposite. She has absolute terrible luck, below average intelligence, and absolutely amazing everything else. And from what I can tell, it seems very interesting. It's very, very fan service heavy. She's wearing a very, very, very short skirt. But it seems interesting. It seems the kind of thing that most people would enjoy. I would probably enjoy it. I'm probably not going to watch it weekly. I'm probably going to watch it once it's come out again. Might do a review on it, depends how it goes. I very much like the kind of fantasy RPG style stuff, because I'm into fantasy and RPGs. And this does have a kind of Dungeons and Dragons kind of feel about it. There's another one on this list that also has that kind of feeling too. And I very much feel the same way about that. But yeah, it seems interesting, it seems good. None of these particularly seem too bad, I wouldn't say. There's a couple that I'm just kind of, but they're not bad, they're not terrible. I definitely wouldn't say that. It's a fairly good season, in fact. But yeah, I'm probably not going to watch it until after it's come out, and then if I hear good things, I'll definitely watch it and I'll definitely do a video on it. But if I hear bad things, I probably won't even touch it. But yeah, the next one I'm going to talk about is Ao no Kanata no 4 Rhythm, which is about these students at this school on this archipelago of islands, and basically they've got these anti-gravity boots which allows them to fly easily around the islands, and obviously the implementation of these boots has given rise to a new sport, in which basically it's kind of like this tag hybrid race thing, where you compete against another person. They settle duels this way, and it's also just like a casual sport. And the main character, seemingly, from what I've told from the bio, was very, very good at this. He was like one of the best. But due to something happening, I don't know, we're not sure yet, he doesn't do it anymore and doesn't really fly much anymore. The teachers seem to kind of know about this, the students not so much. And this new girl arrives at the school. Her father works on the islands, and it's about kind of her and I guess him. I'm guessing there's going to be some kind of romance. But it's kind of her learning how to fly, him kind of coaching her. There's a kind of awesome kind of scene where this very high and mighty bitchy girl has these kind of pro level anti-gravity boots, and the new girl challenges her to a duel, and the main character arrives, and instead of showing her up and saving the day, he coaches her. He's like, hey look, I'll help you, do this, do that, and that's kind of cool, that's fresh, and I like that, I appreciate that, because it's otherwise like a lot of the time you'd see the main character be like, oh you lost, I'll avenge you, and he just dominates it, you know. It's kind of the whole kind of thing again with the main character being like this guy who has this kind of weird past where he used to be the best, but now he doesn't really do it anymore for whatever reason. It's that kind of thing again. It doesn't seem to be ecchi. It seems to be more moe than anything. Again, it's kind of expected that it's either one or the other nowadays. But it seems good. It seems interesting. I've always kind of been interested in flying and stuff. I always liked that. Dragon Ball Z definitely, gave me that kind of urge. I always say that my favourite superpower would be to fly, and people are like, oh, it's boring. Well, fuck you, I can fly. Well, I don't give a shit. I'm not going to use it to fight people. I'm going to use it to fly around. It'd be amazing. But yeah, it seems very interesting. I'm, again, probably not going to watch it weekly. I don't have much time to watch things weekly, but I will definitely watch it. Whether I hear good or bad things about it, I'll definitely watch it and make my own mind up about it. Because again, it does interest me. So I'll definitely see what that's all about. My monitor has gone off again. Really should fix this at some point. Right, so the 8th series I'm going to be talking about is Saijaku Hina Bahamut, which is a very kind of stereotypical ecchi harem kind of thing. It follows, again, the same trope of the male character who had this very strong ability in the past and seemingly is very mysterious now. You don't really know why he doesn't do it anymore. Again, this is the 3rd one on the list, at least, that has that. The main female character is very kind of stereotypical harem main female lead. She's kind of tsundere. She's kind of not one body type or the other. She's kind of a mix. Very much applying to all of the different tastes people could possibly have. There's even the kind of scene where he ends up basically mounting her in a bath by accident. So it's what you expect from a kind of ecchi harem thing. One thing I will say, you quite often see the kind of medieval fantasy world theme, and you very often see the kind of mecha sci-fi theme. You don't really see them much in the same show. This time it is in the same show, the same show, which is cool. It's kind of intriguing to see where they're going to go, whether they're going to go more sci-fi, whether they're going to go more fantasy. Obviously we don't know yet. I've only seen the 1st episode. I don't know if there is a 2nd episode yet. Again, it's probably not something I'm going to watch at all, unless I hear particularly good things about it, and then I will watch it. But I'm probably not going to follow on with it. I don't really like this kind of thing too much. I will say also, she seems kind of different from what you would expect a normal kind of tsundere main lead to be, in the fact that, as you can see from this picture right here, she's pretty much okay with revealing almost everything to the main character straight away. This is literally from like the end of the 1st episode. She's in the main character's room like this. Normally she doesn't do that in ecchi or harem anime until right at the very end, where she starts to develop feelings for them, or in times of need, in some where they draw their power from it. Japan. But yeah, it seems interesting. If you like that kind of series, then by all means watch it. It's probably going to be right up your street. You're probably going to enjoy it. It seems like it's a very good example of that genre, so it seems good. At least, I don't really know, it's not my cup of tea, but yeah, like I said, I'm probably not going to watch it unless I hear good things about it after the series has come out. But that doesn't mean it's bad, it just means I have very select tastes, that's all. The 9th one, so we're almost there, is Haito Genso no Grimgar. I'm really loving this list, it's so useful. It's by A1 Pictures. It's set in this kind of fantasy RPG style world again. Immediately I was therefore thinking Sword Art Online. So I wasn't too hyped. Sword Art Online to me, at least in my opinion, is very kind of generic and just meh. It's not bad by any means. It's just, in my opinion, the kind of thing that if I was introducing someone to anime, I would either show them Sword Art Online or I would show them the original Naruto. It's one of those kind of things. I can see why people like it. I can definitely see why people like it. It's just not really my thing. It's very kind of generic, standard kind of adventure battle harem. It's just I can't take it too seriously. I can't get into it. But I was kind of going into this expecting the same thing, and I have to say I was very, very pleasantly surprised. It's very, very interesting. It's very, very Dungeons and Dragons again, and it follows this group of people who was supposedly from the real world, from our world, and they woke up one day in this fantasy world, and they have no memories of where they came from. All they know is that they're in this world. They know their names, they know how to speak, but that's it. That's literally it. They'll occasionally have kind of redundancies in what they speak. So like one of them I think was saying, "Don't you have like a cell phone?" And then the other one's like, "Wait, what's a cell phone?" And the guy who said it was like, I don't know either. What? That was weird. Because obviously in their subconscious, in the back of their mind is this secret, and they don't know. And that's really interesting, because I want to know why they ended up here, if they'll ever go back, etc, etc. There's a lot of mystery surrounding that. The art style is absolutely gorgeous. The backgrounds, I'm going to put them in the background here. It's very kind of flashy. It looks almost kind of watercolor painting. It's not, I think it's still digital, but it looks kind of, you know, if you see like the old kind of old style anime and anime films especially, where they would have this kind of watercolor paintings in the background. It seems very much like that. Again, like I think it's digital because the colors seem far too vibrant, and there seems to be this kind of gloss and a lot of kind of filters over the top of it. But whether it was painted and digitally enhanced, I don't know. But it's very, very pretty. It looks very, very nice. There is this kind of shiny gloss over the whole thing. The art style is fantastic. The animation is brilliant. The actors are all fantastic as well. The story is really interesting. Like I said, it's this kind of group of people that end up in this fantasy world, and over the first 2 episodes, you see them fight like a goblin, and they're trying to beat this goblin, and it's really, really well done. Like, I've played a lot of RPGs, and I've fought a lot of fodder monsters, including goblins, and never once have I felt sorry for the goblin. But the second episode really did make me feel sorry for it, because you see that it's not fighting out of malice, it's not trying to attack them, it's trying to survive, just like they are. And you see that they're not particularly happy about having to fight it. You see them killing it, and you see them realizing what they've done, and they're looking at themselves like, I've just killed an innocent creature, just so I could live. This is weird, and they're covered in blood, and they're shocked, and they're scared, and you see them deal with that, and that's really, really interesting. And you feel sorry for the goblin as well, because he's suddenly outnumbered, surrounded by 6 warriors, like mages and knights and all sorts, and he, you know, obviously he's scared. It's a goblin, he's going to be scared. He's this tiny little weak green thing, and it portrays that really, really well. I have to say, there's like a lot of really, really detailed expressions. There's a little bit of fan service again. I would say to the same level as the Gashigashi. It kind of knows that it's there. It's a little bit more pronounced than that, I'd say. But it's not going too far. I don't think it's going to go the full ecchi route. But again, this is probably one of them that I'm going to watch regularly, and I'm probably going to do weekly videos on it, because it does very much interest me. It is completely up my street. I can't wait to actually watch the 3rd episode now. I really want to see how they progress. I want to see if they get like, new gear and they level up and all that kind of stuff, because they finally killed their first monster, and it's really exciting. I'm going to be doing a review of the first 2 episodes sometime later this week. I don't quite know when yet. But we're on to the last one now, which is good because the camera is running out of battery, I've just noticed. Divine Gate, which is very weird. It seems, the art style seems very reminiscent of kind of the Death Note style. Obata, Takeshi Obata. It's got this very kind of harsh shadows in the hair, very harsh shadows everywhere, to be honest. It seems very colourful. It's about this kind of gate where if you reach it, you can only reach it if you've got this kind of special power. But those who have these powers can reach this gate and then remake the world how they choose. And these people form this academy in order to help find this gate. And also protect the peace. Like, you know, they want to protect people, but they've got these powers, they want to use them for good. And this kind of very mysterious main character supposedly killed his parents, although we seem to find out that it's his brother that did that. He's very kind of emo, he's very down, He doesn't open up to anyone, which is understandable. He's had a pretty tragic past. And there's kind of three people. It's very kind of basically coloured. Like, the person who has the power of fire is very, very based on red, and the colour red. The person based on wind is very green. The person based on water is very blue. It's very much that kind of thing, but that's not bad. That's not a bad thing at all. That's very kind of standard. It's very interesting. It's a bit dark for my taste, and there's not much context at all in what's actually happening and the history behind why they had these powers or anything like that. It just kind of expects you to know. I don't know. It's probably, again, not something I'm going to watch weekly. I'm probably going to watch it once it comes out and then make up my own mind about it. But if I hear particularly bad things, I probably won't watch it again. Might do a review. Don't know. Depends how it goes. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I can definitely see that it would be very, very popular. It would be kind of a thing that a lot of people would be interested in. It does seem fairly good. It's just not really my kind of thing. But yeah, I might watch it. I don't know. It seems to have these kind of cool concepts and cool powers and stuff, and I'm always one for cool powers. So yeah, who knows? But that's pretty much it. They're my first impressions of the winter 2016 season of anime. Thank you for watching, everyone. I've been Shir0. If you like this, then leave a like. If you want to see more, then subscribe. And I will see you all again very soon. Goodbye!
Or either he's a lazy ass son of a bitch that only does what he absolutely has to do and nothing more.